Hey everyone. Uh, okay, I need you to really pay attention right now because what I'm about to talk about is serious and it's something a lot of people ignore until it's too late. There might be someone in your current reality who you're attracted to, someone you're considering getting intimate with, someone who seems interested, someone where the chemistry feels real and the possibility feels exciting. But before you make that choice, before you cross that line, there are some things you need to consider about whether this person is being fully honest with you. Welcome back. It's Anna. And do not sleep with this person. Not because I have some mystical insight into your life, but because there are patterns and red flags and warning signs that a lot of people miss when they're caught up in attraction. And they've got a problem, and they're not planning on telling you, at least not until after the fact. And by then, it might be too late to protect yourself. Let me be clear about what I mean. You may be in a situation right now where someone is pursuing you or where you're pursuing someone and the physical attraction is strong enough that it's clouding your judgment a little, strong enough that you're maybe overlooking things you normally pay attention to. Some people experience this as a kind of tunnel vision when chemistry is present, when desire is high. The brain literally stops processing certain kinds of information as critically. We see what we want to see, we ignore what's inconvenient. It might feel like you're being rational, like you're making a clear-headed choice about someone you're genuinely interested in, but there's a part of your brain that's being hijacked by attraction. And that part doesn't care about red flags. It doesn't care about inconsistencies. It just wants what it wants. Let's pause for a moment because I need you to really check in with yourself here. This reflection invites you to consider, is there someone in your life right now where your physical attraction to them is stronger than your clarity about who they actually are? You may know exactly who I'm talking about. There might be a specific person who came to mind the second you started reading this. And if that happened, that's your intuition trying to get your attention. It's possible this person has been showing you signs that something isn't right. Not huge, obvious red flags necessarily, but small things. Inconsistencies in their stories, vagueness about their situation, reluctance to answer direct questions, patterns of behavior that don't quite add up. Some people experience this as a gut feeling that something is off. They can't name exactly what it is, but there's this low level discomfort that keeps surfacing even when everything on the surface seems fine. And the problem is when attraction is involved. We're really good at talking ourselves out of those gut feelings. We explain them away. We give the person the benefit of the doubt. We tell ourselves we're being paranoid or judgmental or too picky. This reflection invites you to consider, what gut feelings about this person have you been dismissing? Let me talk about what kinds of problems someone might be hiding. It's possible they're in a relationship, not just casually seeing someone, but actually committed to someone else. And they're not telling you because they know if you knew, you wouldn't participate in what they're trying to do. Some people are very skilled at compartmentalizing their lives. They can be fully engaged with you in the moment, making you feel special and chosen, while having a whole separate life you know nothing about. You may have noticed they're not very available at certain times, that their communication patterns are inconsistent, that they're vague about their living situation or who they spend time with, that they never want to meet in public places where someone might see them. Those aren't quirks. Those are signs. Or it's possible they have health issues they're not disclosing, sexual health issues specifically, things that could directly affect you if you become intimate with them. And they're gambling that you won't ask or that they can deal with it later. This reflection invites you to consider, have you had direct, honest conversations about sexual health and relationship status with this person? It can feel awkward to have those conversations. Nobody wants to be the person who kills the mood by asking uncomfortable questions. But you know what's more uncomfortable? Dealing with the consequences of not asking. Let me talk about another kind of problem they might be hiding. It's possible they're not emotionally available in the way they're presenting themselves to be. They might be fresh out of a relationship and using you as a rebound without being honest about that. They might be dealing with significant emotional issues that make any kind of real connection impossible right now. Some people use physical intimacy as a way to avoid emotional intimacy. They can be very present sexually while being completely absent emotionally. And they don't tell you that up front because they know most people wouldn't sign up for it if they knew. You may have experienced moments where this person is very into you physically but pulls away when things get emotional, where they're all in for the physical connection but resistant to any kind of deeper knowing. That's information. That's them showing you who they are. The question is whether you're paying attention. This reflection invites you to consider, is this person showing up differently in physical contexts than in emotional ones? There's something about intentions that needs to be addressed here. It's possible this person has very different intentions than you do. You might be thinking this could develop into something real, something meaningful, while they're thinking this is just physical, just fun, just temporary. And they're not clarifying that difference because keeping you unclear keeps you available. Some people are very deliberate about maintaining ambiguity. They don't want to lie outright, so they just don't clarify. They let you make assumptions. They let you fill in the blanks with what you want to believe. And then later, when things don't go how you expected, they can say they never promised you anything. You may be in exactly that kind of situation right now, where nothing has been explicitly defined, where everything is kind of implied but not stated, where you think you know where this is going, but you've never actually had that conversation. That ambiguity, it's serving them. It's not serving you. This reflection invites you to consider, what assumptions are you making about this person's intentions that you haven't actually verified? Let me slow down here and talk about something really important. The title of this says, do not sleep with this person, but I'm not actually telling you what to do. I don't know your specific situation. I don't know this person. I don't have access to information you don't have. What I'm actually saying is, before you make that choice, make sure you're making it with full information. Make sure you've asked the hard questions. Make sure you've paid attention to the red flags. Make sure you're not letting attraction override your better judgment. Some people rush into physical intimacy and then have to deal with consequences they could have avoided by just slowing down and getting clarity first. You may be feeling pressure to move fast, either from them or from your own desire, but there's no rush. Anyone worth being intimate with will respect your need to take time and get clear before making that choice. This reflection invites you to consider, what would change if you required clarity before intimacy? It might reveal who's actually worth your time and who's just trying to get what they want without giving you what you need. Let me talk about what problems people commonly hide and why. It's possible they're hiding practical things. They live with a partner. They have financial issues. They have legal problems. They have obligations or commitments that would affect your involvement with them if you knew about them. Some people operate on a need-to-know basis. They think if something doesn't directly impact you in the moment, you don't need to know it. Even if it absolutely would impact your decision to be involved with them, You may have the sense that there are parts of their life you're not seeing, that they're careful about what they share, that certain topics are off limits, that you're being kept in a specific box that doesn't have full access to who they actually are. That compartmentalization, it's protective for them, not for you. This reflection invites you to consider, what parts of this person's life do you not have access to? And more importantly, why? What are they protecting by keeping you separate from certain aspects of their reality? There's something about your worth that I need to address directly. It's possible you're considering sleeping with this person even though you have doubts, even though things don't fully add up, even though your gut is telling you to slow down. And you're doing that because some part of you doesn't believe you deserve better. Some people accept less than they deserve because they've been conditioned to believe that's all that's available to them. That partial honesty is the best they can hope for. That being someone's secret or someone's option is better than being alone, but that's not true. You deserve full honesty, full transparency, full respect. And anyone who can't offer you that isn't worth your body or your time or your energy. You may have gotten used to accepting crumbs, to making do with whatever someone is willing to give, to not asking for what you actually need because you're afraid the answer will be no. But what if you started requiring more? What if you made honesty and transparency and respect non-negotiable? This reflection invites you to consider, what would it feel like to refuse to be intimate with someone who isn't being fully honest with you? Let me talk about what happens after if you ignore the warning signs. It's possible you sleep with this person and then discover the problem they were hiding, the partner, the health issue, the agenda, whatever it is, and then you're dealing with consequences you could have avoided. Some people experience this as a profound betrayal, not just of trust, but of their own judgment. They knew something was off, they felt it, and they ignored it anyway. And then they have to live with both the external consequences and the internal knowledge that they betrayed their own instincts. You may be at a choice point right now. You can listen to what your gut is telling you. You can slow down and get clarity. You can require honesty before intimacy, or you can ignore the signs and hope for the best. You can let attraction override caution. You can gamble that whatever they're hiding isn't that serious. But gambling with your body, with your health, with your emotional well-being, that's a bet that doesn't usually pay off. This reflection invites you to consider, what are the potential consequences if this person is hiding something significant? And are you willing to risk those consequences for someone who isn't even being honest with you? There's something about self-protection that needs to be said clearly. It's possible the most loving thing you can do for yourself right now is say no. Not forever necessarily, just not yet. Not until you have clarity, not until this person proves they're worthy of that level of trust and vulnerability. Some people think self-protection is cold or defensive or overly cautious, but it's not. It's wisdom. It's honoring yourself enough to not give yourself to people who haven't earned that gift. You may need to be more protective of yourself than you have been. More willing to say, I need to know more before we go there. More comfortable with being the person who requires transparency even when it's uncomfortable, because your body isn't casual. Your health isn't negotiable. Your emotional well-being matters. And giving any of that to someone who's being dishonest, that's not intimacy. That's self-abandonment. This reflection invites you to consider, what boundaries do you need to set before considering physical intimacy with anyone? You remain in complete control of your choices here. You can sleep with whoever you want. You can ignore red flags if you choose to. You can prioritize desire over discernment. Or you can slow down. You can ask hard questions. You can pay attention to your gut. You can require honesty and transparency before you give someone access to you. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice that reading this has brought up specific concerns about a specific person, maybe things you've been trying not to think about, maybe red flags you've been explaining away. Pay attention to that. Your intuition is trying to protect you. Take what resonates, discard what doesn't. Trust what you know in your gut about this situation. Before we close, I want to ask you something directly. Have you ever ignored red flags with someone because you were attracted to them? What happened? Drop it in the comments, because I think a lot of people need to hear that they're not alone in this struggle. And what questions do you need to ask someone before becoming intimate with them? What information do you actually need to make an informed choice? What would change if you made honesty a requirement instead of a hope? Do not sleep with this person. I can't make that choice for you. They've got a problem and they're not planning on telling you. It's possible. It's very possible, because some people hide significant things until after they've gotten what they want. But here's what I can say. You deserve someone who is fully honest with you from the beginning. Someone who respects you enough to give you all the information you need to make an informed choice. Someone who doesn't hide things that directly affect you. Not eventually, right now, before you cross that line. Trust yourself with this. Trust your gut when it tells you something is off. Trust your instincts when they say slow down. Trust your worth enough to require honesty and transparency before intimacy. You don't owe anyone access to your body just because there's chemistry. Chemistry is easy. Honesty is what matters. I'll see you in the next one. And listen, if someone can't be fully honest with you before intimacy, they don't deserve intimacy with you. Period. Protect yourself. Ask hard questions. Require real answers. Your body, your choice, your standards.